Hello Swiss Army knife collectors, this is Will here. I'm doing the final reveal video for the 4-layer Wenger second shield fiber officer's knife. Right there on the tablet, I'm wanting to show you what it looked like when I first got it, and go through a few photos to refresh your memory. You can see the earlier videos. This will be number 6 in this series and the final reveal video of the knife. Let me show you a few of these pictures here. I had gotten this knife on eBay for about $250. For what it is, it's a very rare knife. It's has a wide middle back spring, which was on the very early models. This one looked like someone had it in their toolbox or tackle box or something. It had a lot of rust buildup on it, which indicates it is made out of carbon. And this one has a Wenger tang stamp of Wenger Delmont, which the earlier Wenger Delmont tang stamps, every one that I've seen is made of carbon, until they went to the Wenger Tahara tang stamp. That's when they actually started making them out of stainless. So there's the main blade and the penknife blade. They had quite a bit of rust, and it wasn't so much the rust that was the problem, it was the pitting. Most of the time on stainless knives you don't have rust, and if you have to polish up a stainless knife, usually it's just the scratches and scuffing that is there from wear from a person using the knife. Usually that's a lot easier to get out. But on these older carbon knives where there's a lot of pitting, you have to really get down to the base metal below the pitting before you can actually get rid of it. On this knife itself, it had a questionable saw blade, which you can see there in the picture. It doesn't have any rust on it. It did indicate that that was made of stainless. I don't know if it's something where during that time period Wenger was going new to stainless, so they may have had some tools that were kind of intermixed, but I just wanted to put it all back to carbon, to be original, even if it was done by the factory. I date this knife to late 20s, early 30s. I did wind up, other than the saw blade, changing it out. I did change the scales out. I had a Wenger Tahara model that had better scales. It was pretty fuzzy, getting all that rust out of there, but it was definitely worth the final product. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you the knife. This has been 2 months in the making. I've spent probably 80 hours total on it. In my last video I showed you the tools, which I got up to 400 grit. That brass really stands out. It looks like gold. I couldn't ask for a better outcome on this knife. It was tedious there toward the end on the assembly. I had some issues with the blade not wanting to fall in its track. This knife had a couple of liners in the middle that were contoured out where they'd come around and kind of come down and up again. And it looked great where you could see the inside of the knife. Focus right there. There we go. But I wound up having to use full liners, which come all the way to the top, kind of like the outside liners do, because it was causing an issue. It's got a little bit of scuff there where it tracked up against one of the brass liners. Trying to get an image of that Wenger dome on a tank stamp, but doesn't seem to want to focus on it. On top of that, it's gained quite a bit of snap from when it was rusted. It didn't have much snap then. Here's the saw blade I took out of a donor knife of mine, an old 3 faces Wenger knife that was all carbon. Here's the scissor layer. Let me zoom back. Might do a little better there. Okay. Scissors came out really good. Here's the can opener. Cap lifter screwdriver. It's got some of my fingerprints on it. I did have it a lot better polished earlier. And would you look down in there? That looks like a treasure chest down in there, just gleaming. All brass and chrome looking. Here's the awl. I don't normally do full refurbs, but on a knife like this, its rarity, it was definitely worth going through it. If I tried to sell this for the labor I put in it, I would break about probably a quarter of what it costed me in labor to do it. So this knife will stay in my collection. I don't ever plan to sell it. I only do probably, so far I've only done about 3, 4 refurbs, full refurbs where I've actually broke the knife completely down. The last one I did was for Dave Arnold. He had a 3-face Wenger Delmont horn knife, and if you look in some of my earlier videos, you'll see me go through that knife. See if I can focus a little we go. Seems like when I have all these tools open, they tend not to want to snap, but when I do one at a time, they tend to snap pretty good. There we go. Let's see if I can get that main blade snap. There we go. But there she is. Wenger second shield 4-layer knife. Thanks for watching, and please leave comments.